you want to be on the email chain?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. Is this 17 inch?
15.
This thing's huge. Oops. Oh shoot, I just killed the last one. That was on there.
That's okay, I can get it back.
Every time I do that. There we go.
Thank you. Thanks.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. No.
All right, should be sent.
Yeah. Kind of the opposite, actually. I'm like, why is the rest of my life so sedentary when you don't have things to do?
Everyone got the email?
I am not.
Is anyone not ready? The United States federal government should substantially reduce its restrictions of legal immigration for artificial intelligence experts to the United States advantage one intelligence immigration restriction drive AI experts who are trying to carry school shortages jeopardizes American leadership. YT 18, the rights of like right here we can't have violence and solidarity. Trying to bring the aggressive to AI as a military application. There's some short challenge. Expert point is scarcity prime about bottleneck making sure can't block his borders. Violence years. The country's most talented with progressively specimen to say to the whole trying to work in countries to return to visa program would straight up position relative trying to go to their source of nature down. It would be a self so words and message. If that is here, merely outspending adversaries doesn't solve double 18 restricted marriage while here the AI. The both need to track around that outspend adversaries. Military times between immigration and country. All that in, we'd rather have AS and worlds here. We're not doing an immigration thing. Some class people say. Scenario 1 is a Gemini extended nuclear turns is collapsing a shit ton multi-domain warfare necessity to dump in to dampen conflict escalation and quote racist ability to Herbert 18. Strategic remote may follow different mouth and clear culture of the vectors making decisions of which not to the action for consolidation to incredibly incapable the efforts to do actually second string advantage use is going to try to none of those incredibly nuclear reduce incredibly use because about the research time Russia I love the traffic interaction I whoever the day I become really the world's 21st century turns like technology use and survival story yeah leverage all domains armed terrorists against the nebel only seeing alienation locks in American military supremacy also 18 is in different competition with China rushing head with different answers there was to enable this should be contemporary about the environment or the change world there was in China committed to building which should be come to plan Pentagon workers collaboration projects to partner with company China can do life and the routine China force operating in the Pacific Air Force, make a formidable and down China military relations, calculation, nation, arms, like Lebanon, Canadian business, to US new race, new technologies, absent technological primacies, second strike targeting guarantees nuclear isolation, goal 18, AOA, BCA, support order, reconnaissance, analysis, data, drinking, sand terrain, MBA delegate, bounce technology, targeting weapons, contamination, destruction, no intelligence, have to deal with like a first animals, I think, right to do all these power, convene China authority, detail, planning, updates, war, message, exchange, counterforcing, clarifies the bigger posture, and coerces adversaries to submission, stabilize a litany of global hotspots, lever, and press 16, effective posture, to our crisis, make to force foundation on counterforce, need to disarm adversaries, we can continue to plan use weapons of war, the bulk 3 station adversaries to make a visual force and counterforce multiple by completely to be rather nuclear weapons, planetary technology problems, we have some benefits, adversaries likely most undertaking, and nuclear strategy can robotic advances very through sheer messages, harnesses, to bolster returns, AI bolsters every facet of power projection to resilient, adaptive military core, which 18 the AI ability to improve the accuracy of the battlefield planning, we should be getting running military to so you don't use AI, system military no diversion, China AI offers you to disrupt use security, and clean information, how many separate through warfare is increasing AI can enable on have for general correction, system information, made about China's passing US country, once adversaries from military versus sustained exchange working breath, they shift the fear of military primacy solves every threat, technically shifts sustained military or eventually decline, and bullies rivals and causes armed terrorists to escalate, branch 18 American community, no wrong promise to use and goal rejection, restation abilities, not to call to the harbor back and unable to the community suppressing, rogue states proliferation, terror, Russian come back, promise you would realize the little curve to be eroded, rise and bull, crisis, just power competition, back China, Russia, our second Jenny contestant, gold North Korea, Master Arsenal, a remains of Russian state, the Islamic police operation, alliance, technology, obstacles, and restriction, people who may be to perpetuate overmatch, retrenchment alone, and interventions of proliferation and unchecked nuclear warfare, phase 17. Using rules to identify national concussion, nuclear weapons, use of individual war, police hierarchy, the national summary, question, publish murder, pacifying effects, to become attractive because you go to secret weapons to use into lead active knowledge, Japan, and Korea, build arsenal, be foundation, develop capabilities, and about to get away from military action, police, like rather tendencies, these words that are violent and destructive. Pursuit of hegemony under Trump was inevitable and effective. Some 18 Trump's some security team, the ambitious policy goes to damage our nature and construct relations with hundreds of championship major justice seems to be able to money chain. Is active with trade war, must go to energy, competitive solutions, German pressure, threats, and Trump produce positive results of marching, meaning, or cost, nuclear arms, the third option. America's surprise allowed to cut deal. Scenario 2 is strategic stability. U.S.-China wars and pending bilateral tensions will escalate territory disputes and precipitate clashes that were global leadership. Ethan Thompson, 18 cryptic conflict is not inevitable. Technology critical competition. We can turn one torn violence to Japan and need the SSK to work with for the use in China. Directors China potential. Again, for leadership, China will structure into arrangements. Technology leadership will come to reach promises. China to ask use military power to be less rather than use technology development will use for immigration. China will come borders use loss in the number of scientists over trade back to North Korea. Taiwan may try to make China sales regard tension unavoidable. Deep tension to increase elevation price clashroom issue conflict between provocation war ones and China great accommodation to rapid use strap. China rise globally to the U.S. were hustling about rolled out and Korean economy China China power. China seeking to rise the international order. Specifically, China will weaponize AI to expedite military modernization. Country 17 appeal pursuing innovation. The same technologies that can transform warfare to capabilities will shape the development of great power to leadership. Release and lead the war about 20 billion investment huge in top time the country's contract over to the USA shift intelligence warfare AI. Because war time is about to improve war game elevation regimes for offer fully automated war. Only tech dominance diffuses competition and mitigates the rivalry. Heath and Thompson 18 competition and the global level of citation not the most psychology provision economy half century social science underscores the importance of cultural economics under the long-term growth rate account and pioneering innovation time against future technology research about run will be issued build common promise and technology and powers military retains superiority appeals modernization during the appetite conflict management of wide strain military right defender outlining integrated deterrence of recommends to be severed and nuclear absence checks flash winds go nuclear Taiwan GTG production Taiwan and build installations in the SA solution expansion not just to US or current military competition relative to the balance of nuclear higher China's nuclear weapons integrating the conventional force military situation could have been new competition conventional forces China pressure escalate operation dimension and nuclear force Beijing can conclude limited nuclear escalation viable most wars in relation with Taiwan and kind of vibrant US and shoot first NASA leader conventional nuclear missiles can make control networks extracting various various which nuclear ones to leave by fear and fundamentals were vulnerable that caused extinction by nuclear war and allied drone Star 17 Nuclear, you're told about last global famous nuclear grenade, producing almost 50% of production would decrease by 40%, motor weapons with 1,000 powerful, overnight immense fire, some smoke would lost 90% of sunlight, temperature fall below freezing, which would do human nuclear, work produce a nuclear use to leave support dark conflict for Russia, near the progress from Russia conduct nuclear aggression wide euro, Trump's inheriting conflict in Ukraine, serious world competition, yes, nuclear war battle, the human race. Advantage 2 is cyber AI development, destabilizes cyber deterrence and invites attacks to solo 18 cyber transmittals with AI, Russian building AI come down with constant strike, improve accuracy, conversion, and connect weapon against cyber attacks and double hospital cyber attacks, demonstratification, and cyber attacks, plus Russia seeking complete attacks are too difficult for humans to stop. Human resources insufficient. Only AI curves robust defenses against rising threats. Guillotine, third more humans not liable. There's enough cybersecurity talent. Workforce to be short 1.8 million. This leads to a risk when option field holds of AI can be built against computers. Going to be our computer versus theirs. AI represents the only viable feature. Proactively identify and mitigate before patches develop. Rogue actors will target missile silos at insights, inadvertent launches, and escalation. Farmer 18 nuclear weapon system or target them cyber attacks and lead inadvertent launches like high hacking and increasing. Their vulnerability to an actor may infiltrate system without states knowledge offensive cyber activity. Create alloy cyber attacks and nuclear to cause escalation. Hostile states still criminal gates of terrorists. The threat is high and increasing. You know, non-Lucy nuclear system cyber attacks versus and conflict impacts enormous hack reveal. Facilities layouts and operation information cyber destroying industrial owners control companies races doubts the reliability of nuclear weapons and virtual cyber action nuclear risk reduction. The likelihood of cyber attacks is high increasing states not safe groups who cyber moving cannot judge decision making with devastating consequences. Trump's military doctrine guarantees nuclear retaliation. Program of 18 leak nuclear posture. Department of Running attacks could trigger use of retaliation nuclear weapons doctrine. Threatening to nuke anyone who conducts cyber attack in the U.S. nuclear will be more devastating against cyber attacks. Russian Trump with retaliation nuclear weapons in the U.S. might be both the U.S. justifies first use, although the threshold for nuclear weapons is difficult to match. No nuclear war will be proportionate. The cyber domain renders nuclear turns useless via miscalculation. Guards system to nuclear threats have no credibility. The cyber domain cannot mind nuclear truth. Risk of calculation when cyber attack money train communication and nuclear active prevention way out of the in addition to making a serious concern, the Russians as once knows the attacker is able to ability to attack. Will not sure understand the probable outcome. The attacker proceeds and about the target. Proceeds the about the competition ensues. The plan solves first nuclear targeting deters Chinese expansion system and sustain strategic stability. Theory 17 nuclear weapons are used in return to coercion. Use the account force clause and cause of action are evidence developed to action charges to the U.S. interest prevention support the policies the NSCS comes to the nation in Africa. Europe aim to be one against the point that does U.S. deterrent account force will hold targets to arrest and deter Chinese aggression. It will reassure allies. Second, liberalizing immigration secures U.S. lead in the AR arms race. So, most of 17. Innovation data diffusing rise of expertise in other nation, which will also use the first mover advantage. Georegional only uses the long because the pool is global requires immigration policy, hypertension, AI, expert, immigration, graduate, preference aligns to immigration, global competition, means some easier to obtain economics, immigration community states. Perception matters, anything less than permanent residency deters migration by relegating immigrants as second-class citizen, poverty means true. And only those are qualifications, legitimations, smaller behaviors make a large difference. No immigration was a determined factor in condition, clear feature. Immigration will test guessing the ultimate goal is pretty welcome, Supreme Court is real far away from the environment, so this is for permanent residence, paths, and value, so immigrants feel like clear passage without clear risk, country less attractive reduces the pool of talent, dump developers, Congress's new spending bill redoubles H-2B visa caps. Yesterday, the spending bill reduced 20 serious immigration issues. The bill more than doubled the number of H-2B workers. No about the authority at 69,020 spots. H-2B workers depressed the wage of Americans heavily. It's a far from Trump the national emergency message of your dispatch warned yesterday. Trump planned to deploy national emergency to start a chain of events to arrest and explain the Republican Congress undercutting Trump's agenda, opening legal challenge to danger Republicans as having to the resolution itself. Democrats passed a Trump resolution taking political gains in the Senate. Republicans be forced to warning national emergency rebuking the president. Trump just reformed H-1Bs. FP 131. Trump announced a rule that recalibrates educational requirements. The change increased the number of advanced degree holders, retention to benefit employers, helping the program work better. We are further Trump will have a greater transit selection. Employers have immigration selection and tweet terms that change will bring certainty, including potential voucher citizenship. We'll send those out. Should be set.
Was it applied to all? Oh, I just got it. You.
Yep.
What restrictions exist on AI workers now?
Low visa quotas.
Okay, so do you raise the quota?
Yeah.
Okay, your second piece of the Watney evidence says a new technical visa program. That's not what you do.
Sorry?
Your Watney evidence says, like, advocates for the creation of a new technical visa program.
We provide employment-based visas to AI workers.
Okay, how's that? Like, you just give them employment-based, or you create an exception? Like,
The AI workers would receive employment-based visas.
how? Like, how's that legal?
What do you mean?
Like, you give it to them, or you create an exception?
They are
for them?
eligible. They are eligible for employment-based visas now, but they cannot get them because of low visa quotas. The
Yeah.
plan would raise the quota and give it to artificial intelligence workers.
But that's the second. So I understand raising the quota. The second part of the plan, where you just fiat that those ones, like the cap is raised, and then you fiat that the extra cap is given to AI workers.
Yeah.
Do you have any evidence that says that's possible?
The Osoba and Welser evidence indicates specifically that we should give visas to AI workers.
Yes. Yeah, a new technical visa program. You said that's not.
No, that's the Watney evidence. Our solvency application is the Osoba and Welser evidence.
How is an AI expert defined?
Somebody with an advanced degree in artificial intelligence or several years of work experience in the field.
Okay. What evidence says that AI experts want to come here or can come here?
Visa backlogs prove that there's significant demand to come to the U.S. as per the Watney evidence.
Well, that's overall EV workers, right?
No, it's specifically about AI.
Wait, but how do you know that those are AI workers or the backlogs for overall EV visas?
Because the Watney evidence indicates that there are AI workers waiting in the backlog because there are many Chinese students who have come to study here but cannot stay in the U.S. because of a lack of permanent visas.
Okay, why do they want to come to the United States?
Because of, for example, things like a liberal investment climate, permanent residency program backed by the guarantee of the federal government, etc.
Okay, how do we know that China is revisionist?
Because we have evidence indicating that expansionist actions attest to Chinese military doctrine.
Oh, wait. So just because China's expansionist, why does that mean they're revisionist? The U.S. is also expansionist. Are we revisionist?
Specifically, it indicates that there are several official CCP documents that indicate that because China is a rising power, they will seek to overtake the United States by 2030. The Heath and Thompson evidence describes this as Thucydides' trap, whereby miscalculation is inevitable absent maintaining vigilance.
So why does, just because they're a rising power and they want to displace the U.S., why does one that have to occur?
They're a rising power that is clearly violating international law in regions such as the South China Sea and is clearly attested to expansionist ambitions in the past.
Okay, your Gardsky evidence, I guess the cyber advantage is also just based off of AI shortage, right?
It's based upon specifically the U.S. not being able to develop AI capabilities.
And that's
because of a
we
shortage.
have an AI shortage.
Yes.
So both advantages are based off an AI shortage.
Yeah.
Okay. The Gardsky evidence says cyber domain renders nuclear deterrence ineffective. Is that the same for AI deterrence?
We also make claims about how AI renders nuclear deterrence ineffective.
So, yes, but what's the relationship between AI and cyber deterrence is my question.
So there are two separate claims in each of the advantages. For cyber, it's that when other countries or rogue actors develop artificial intelligence that allows them to sort of commit these automated attacks against US systems, and AI makes it so that it's self-learning along the way. So if the United States has humans on our side, it's kind of impossible to defeat a computer that can just learn by itself.
When's he said? Six off, dominance advantage, the cyber advantage.
degrees of dominance cyber.
It took a sec for yours to calculate the email, because it's taking just a little bit of time. You got it.
I got it.
I'm good.
Okay.
Oops.
There we go, it's good. Great. First off, a C task on restriction on the immigration include raising quotas and changing the terms for admissibility for the fund. Pass of LPR. This task off at 69 and requires the economic communication allowing skilled individual refugees, families, and diversity. Restriction on the immigration fund and quotas. They will prevent 26,000 immigrants and women based in 150,000 quotas in legal conversation numbers not the last section 12 program disability taxes on something on to the path the LPR. Right, this next time limits specific restriction or quota restriction exception or return issues in EB visa voting for limits around their internal categories for each EB visa. Too small sizes could spike up and decide. Next officer is knowledge reduction that balances American exceptionalism, risk extinction, and fundamental epistemological shift is necessary to prevent endless cycles of destruction. That's Wilson and 13. Rhetoric conditions including reaction acceptance and way like essential words that have been based on vast possession of 100 indigenous nations, murdering millions of financial values to prove favorable to our species, morally, ecological, and economically unsustainable. The U.S. intervened 700 times to the use of bomb 20 countries in American way of life, creating imperial wonder, the western life supposed to dangerous force that exists on the earth are planet Earth is fact require a radical creating shift in epistemology where offering systems separation from and domination requires non-cooperation prevailing political economy. He was bringing China as a threat as only kills and reproduces violence. And 08, and year training lesson 18. The way that Americans view China is motivated by full calculation and self-interest. China's documents facing the U.S. faction as the potential one of the others in terms of the ability to do mortal organizations and justify U.S. policy and images enable the one on the bush. We hope that we work out in the way that the other way offering the truth about China is imperative that the U.S. policy understands the U.S. policy and of China to reach out from that position and rejecting any form of politics or practice outweighs of policy making. Otherwise, you only share your reputation that she's in the United States. Maybe for the way by the critical evaluation perspectives offering policymakers on the alternative solutions and considerable part of the problem. Question the way that problems are framed by policymakers, official language to be problematized before engaging in the policy debate. The Christian to reframe the basic terms of reference to society, and critically reassessing and ultimately the decisions that are based on. This one question of distinction between policy practice and the academic theories and the policy prescription, critical analysis and education for policymakers. Attention needs to be paid to the way that thought processes and thought necessary to include the alternative policies. First comes new perspectives, then specific policies, assurance and processes, disprove the interpretation of reality, giving the meaning direct policy. Next off is domestic campaign, next for government distinction is funding for artificial intelligence research and development. RD, for national business, national, and the Chinese have a well funded AI until 2027 to building will go to 2020 alternative low interest US interest that they are doing investing heavily in R&D business and strong R&D investment has been fell flat. The program speaking of increased level of research AI, R&D private and public universities should be funded to develop the educational programs in AI, conducting research, while France universities increase the R&D tax incentives and grants to companies to invest in AI, primary and secondary educational programs longer, school year creation, science, math, and computer science education and restoration request of major science programs limited by Trump and the creation of major new programs for AI. Next has the poll parent plan, the next is government should first grant debt to poll to artificial intelligence experts. Second, that's that artificial intelligence experts now have polls as third, and after the poll will be continual, won't be revoked, their police won't be deported for granting or recipients of parole, employment authorization documents, and renewal. Fifth, offer police financial incentives in exchange for acceptance of parole. Sixth, internally reallocate AT funding to substantially increase the amount of funds for use for financial incentives described above. And seventh, the president must follow the new parole policy amended by the Cardi option. The Cameron installed using creative analysis, that's caution records 15. Use of an innovative concept to content and explain the original time lessons and which will premise the rest of you. Extra discretion and permitted and initial analysis in the present to will discretion and power in order to bed. Large analysis in the present to utilize the authority survey. Objective programs to the base of innovation involving control provided for authorized immigrants in favor of effective immigrants. And also, two extra plans for first executive order 11935 and second permit agencies to hire non-citizens by defaulting the agency claims there are no qualified citizens available. You don't send that out. Policy step. Development by person, that means that infrastructure bill passes soon. That's policy. And 27, the committee being affected by person, planning commission, no matter whatever the else in the year to achieve the infrastructure goals for the prospective when the social line for the infrastructure, most parts are able to do. 9 functions leader, the policy can do the loan. This will require the White House to take over the Congress to get some real. Others can decide that the Congress to work together. Shutdown, recess, the agenda, plan, stars, the emergency compromise, a seed, and 2-6. The immigration issue come to hang over the trunk. The second year of the class of body immigration deal with the defense support person over the capital incoming. We serve the possible step around the immigration fund, move on to the other days by possible president agreement. Trump mentioned the infrastructure them, the infrastructure spending the cost for the things by something that Trump's not mentioned. The budget is no longer eager to discuss. The federal infrastructure bills keep catastrophic collapse of the grid. That's Woolsey. And 18. The UN grid is under the concept that the countries of America's rely on the country's most prepared without fresh water, food supply, advantage, and electricity or weight. Most of the time, infrastructure is fragile. The grid is set by cybercracks, hurricanes, storms, spatial attacks, strikes, and E. And peace only maritime for one attack that triggered the catastrophic backlash. Experts estimated there was a loss of 1 billion American lives about that would be impossible to recover the taxation preventable if our government must do the same functions, authority, and ability to solve the problem. Class class distinction is freedmen, and 16 civilization concepts without electricity. When it comes to entire planet, industry need electricity and commercial societal. Class and trade support the ability to operation depends on infotech enables 98% of the population. They work out the state government placing our condition found. They should not exist and that's also the basis that base future plans old materials. The one and only issue that stresses resiliency is as all. And if you name masters to immigration is crucial to Trump, this remembered in May, and Trump's base when it comes to views and see the immigration attitudes for the strong predictor of Obama Trump votes. The show on immigration might cost Trump's base and impact last year caused 4 major wars a year. That's Foster and 16 analysts has written the leads for loss of national confidence to plug public attention away from problems rather than exploiting the base from they were trying to rally public opinion inside the military action. I think we're Trump's campaign analyzing 71,446 wars. Trump's level of distrust compared to the previous presidents that started. The law predicts that Trump's presidency are introducing more than one nature of conflict reported. The dominant man, Chinese damage for espionage is short then, making the foreign epidemic of espionage after most target trade secrets technology, China's officials, power of China, China's national defense, them provide for alpha, tech info, they conscious people to by their home government, tech firm, block they to report that financial espionage stories driven by Asian conversation more than half of a dozen, moreover, intelligence community, officials, Chinese intelligence center, and surveillance, attempting to control the Chinese national for studying abroad, the platform, employee Xiaolan, China sold the priority information, Walker Lee was found guilty of, the formula, China's espionage targeted Silicon Valley, based technology, guys, very much Chinese interests in finding they attempt to use officials' knowledge about Chinese own intelligence operations and twisting and adjusting the review accordingly. In Chinese spy operations turns the case of classic economy. That's Edmondson and 18. I've been lost 274 cases of China espionage, loss of the IP, the China espionage, and insider recruitment agents, the primary means for good, about this type of information, the economic loss from past testing, impacts will include the loss of industry, loss of domestic production, loss of jobs, and trading house, cumulative effect of trillions of dollars of failing competitiveness, the loss of the military tech, nations advancing into weapon systems, include autonomous, robotics, and system based in the tech, and stroll in Chinese espionage activities resulted in increased power protection capabilities. Economic language global as second 18, global climate cracking the new turmoil and defend the US, the nuclear states, the Democratic Bash, China, Russia, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, China, North Korea, trying to listen what happened. There's 2008 days to show this low interest confidence, financial crisis, where that cost of confidence and interest be retracted into the global confidence of Obama Club, to the P20, the confidence on. The other way, Sasco solved the AI 5 reasons. Wiggers at all in 19, the American AI initiative, the fund of wages, active priorities, AI, investment defense department, set right, $75 million for AI, ability, the federal research model be available for AI research, we made popular with open partnerships for agencies that stress the AI development of AI agencies to train further AI research and experts, administration, collaborate, data science, AI development, other forms of turns that way, military, music, etc., lack of photo, there's no conflict in leadership and peace. That why 17 the relation of these is no research and reviews at active interventions is not no direct relations to need to trust the region handling these activities made the first Gulf of Middle East worse than hard power investments in Somalia, Afghanistan, back modern intervention in Libya, the lines of the diplomacy in Syria have been equally ineffective. North Card and ineffective. Cyber wars have been critical. They increase the confidence and escalate the spell. Linearo, and that's 15. Cyber security is not used attackers not escalate the present no does conflict escalate the attackers safe from uptake 100 and 11 cyber access only 20 gains to the government conflicts out of 1 and 5 the highest disorder is 3 and conflicts remain low and constant no escalation of cyber attacks let the checks as scholar and 16 cyber conflicts will undermine deterrence as flawed American unable weapons are not allowed to plan control system makes possible ability to implement the exploiting these weapons or the weapon safety or predicted on the interaction and control participation required to shoot against nuclear weapons beyond the capability most gifted hackers include the terrorist organizations that exist in nuclear weapons often to alter the responses of adversaries. Market card at adversaries. There's no internal link for the solvency that's gals. Anything machine learning algorithms can create false and security. The product requires the supervisor running because the firms will label data set the company use training info. Market card use training info.
Where is that marked?
Use training info.
Okay. Ready?
Sorry, water.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Status of the advocacies.
Status was always bad watching.
Can you kick planks?
I don't think so, right?
Okay. Theoretical reasons to reject the team. Or were there none?
Was it just T? Was there?
Yeah, okay.
Like, is it a priority? Yeah. I mean, like, we can make a security game.
No, I mean, if there was like, was there like a spec or something?
Oh, no.
Yeah, okay. How do we respond to Chinese land grabs in the world of the alternative?
In the key.
Yeah.
We say that land grabs are something that are pushed on by the way that the US currently presents China. We say that's a root cause of the reason why China has land grabs and a world of the app that only would result in conflict. We're saying that the way
So what does the alternative do about how US foreign policy relative to China?
I mean, we say that first, as academics, there is a responsibility to reject the way that you view China. That comes before any of the
You didn't answer my question.
understanding of China, because that's a necessary precondition for Chinese aggression. but we say that perhaps part of the alternative is the way that the U.S. relates to China. We say
Okay.
that the world alternative
So
is
how
further
does the U.S.
existing
relate to China in the world of the alt?
Yeah, we'd say that we further existing movements to view China a different way, decentering the way that we have military intervention necessarily tied to immigration, and only through that decentering can we create a type of critical praxis that Cheeseman talks about, necessary to overcome these.
Does this critical praxis break down U.S. hegemony?
Break down U.S. hedge, like we don't think that's the priority of academics in the role.
Okay, so this seems.
Breaking down hedge be criticized.
If you don't break down hedge, what part of the 1AC do you criticize other than the portrayal of China as a threat?
I mean, breaking down hedge is not something that we say academics indirectly do. Neither can we obviously reinsert hedge. We say it's the way that you view hedge is necessary for its existence.
Okay, the infrastructure dissent, where does your internal link evidence say that this federal infrastructure bill addresses critical infrastructure?
Well, the evidence in context of current congressional efforts to increase the infrastructure, we say that is...
Yeah, where does your evidence tie that to critical infrastructure?
Yeah, it's specific to the current bill. At the bottom, when it says the federal government must do the same, Congress has the same authority, and nobody's all the problem.
Again, your internal link is about the grid and addressing critical infrastructure.
Yes,
your
the
uniqueness
infrastructure
evidence is
bill-
about transportation infrastructure.
The infrastructure bill has massive critical infrastructure increases.
Really? What
Very
evidence says
easy.
that?
But it's in the Woolsey evidence has in part about congressional funding. I'm almost certain it's about critical infrastructure, but I forget the exact number. It's
Okay.
really high.
What is the scenario for grid collapse causing extinction?
Well, this evidence describes the cascading effects of a collapsing grid leading to other outages.
How does it initially get collapsed?
Like you're trying to make the link to cyber. 'Cause
No, I'm
it's
just
like-
asking, how does it initially get
There
collapsed?
could be a possibility of cyber threats, but there's also other forms of weaknesses, collapsing the chains that link between types of infrastructure. That can make it
Okay, so
collapse.
like power
Just
lines,
black
okay,
outages.
wait. Power lines go down. How does that cause extinction?
I mean, black outages don't just happen with power lines, they happen in whole sectors.
Blackouts happen. How does that cause extinction?
Oh, well, our evidence describes the cascading effect of that. Collapse of nuclear power plants that are tied to electricity, other forms of retaliation. Like, there's a lot of
How is artificial intelligence research and development distributed?
distributed. Our
Yeah.
evidence describes it goes to public and private universities, increasing hiring.
How much do you increase investment by?
I don't think the evidence has an exact amount, but it's pretty high.
Alright.
The Andrew controls the way. The Andrew evidence controls the way
Any
that we
pro-
view this
No.
policy.
Alright, who's sending it out?
All right, it should be sent.
That's in the rough numbers.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine.
I think you sent last
Yeah.
last round's one. The order is dominance, cyber, T, the K. Just check my Then R&D counterplan, Pearl counterplan, infrastructure dissad, and then base dissad.
Would you say the order on the case was here? Was it?
Oh yeah, the order was dominant cyber. Is everyone good? Yep. Okay.
AA dominance solves war and bolsters U.S. hegemony, key deterrent strategies defends long-term conflict. Note that arguments soon tech development trenders. Traditional checks are relevant. This espionage term. One, espionage is really difficult. The tech companies have notorious corporate security and technologies designed to prevent leaks. The threat of massive lawsuits and jail time outweighs also the economy is stumped by other factors such as the threat of trade war and cybersecurity sells. Espionage chef flatten 624 for the Chinese espionage gating. Difficult U.S. technology law makes scrutinize over the technology. Capability secret safer factors cyber. Breach limited. Military protection against foreign line hackers. 3. This is at best a case turn. It's tried. It could be China in this as only the app makes a meaningful change and no link just because China's realist doesn't all of its immigrants are, but the Chinese government will develop AI also. Fears of Chinese spies are overblown and exaggerated. Graph in 18. The fears of Chinese spies are overblown. Former Chinese are fighting intelligence. The CIA general are only able to gather raw intelligence and no link. People are screened for national security threats before they enter the U.S. Yes, shortage. Trump's AI initiative just increased R&D and data access, which non-unique to their counterplans, but it didn't increase immigration, which into the United States, which experts agree is the big problem. No all causes mad. Their mutually assured detection is broken down because of AI, because it finds our strike and strike capabilities, which provides them an asymmetric advantage. Yes, impact to hegemony creates no overmatch that prevents attacks. There are evidence about interventions, not necessarily deterrence and cyber advantage. Foreign AI development is to escalate cyber threats, strengthen nuclear facilities, which heightens tension and increase the propensity for miscalculation. Cyber is not hype. The new Trump doctrine means that he can retaliate with nuclear weapons against cyber attacks, which means that even if cyber attacks themselves don't cause nuclear escalation, Trump can. Yes, escalation. 0 days don't matter. The Iran nuclear facility was air gapped, yet Stuxnet was able to get in. Also, AI can take control of nuclear weapons, which would heighten miscalculation. AI solves escalate. AI does solve escalation. Solves with the development. Also, their card was marked too early. T. We change numerical quotas on the global cap, and we decrease quantitative limits on the substantive category, counter-interpretation, restrictions govern the quantity type in terms of emission, positive cost 6. Immigration policy diversion quantity type in the terms of emission, quantity using numerical restriction types, the type of person including immigrants in terms of immigration, the status they confer on others who are described only the immigrant immigration system, not the system used in it, not restrictions concerning immigrant numbers, types in terms of emission for our interpretation. First, over limiting, there are basically only 4 Fs: family, employment, humanitarian, diversity, still debates, skill, fairness, education. Second half ground every half loses to the plural counterpoint. Specific job groups create a nuance, solvency deficits, functional limits, other words, limit, check random professions, reasonability, substance, credibility, non-limiting the security K framework determine the desirability of the after perm versus the alternative parameters shift debate stasis points be this monopolizes a neg prep weakening content rejection and renting af engagement permutation due to the af mindset the alternative they can garner reps link we can perm the representations vegan utopian alter a voter insurmountable fiat makes me naf impossible kills fairness and clash and floating picks are a voter shifts the goalposts of friends clash kills fairness education and revision in true especially for China 2018 the rest of China has competition even global new a great part of the significant ability US and China particularly North Korea great to one of the next one of the global China's revisions innovation policy adopting aggressive foreign policy China's been out of the terror relations constructed violence resources here elections satisfaction accelerate military capture the development of the development of power China's willingness to become the global hegemon the economic modernization views national projects overcoming the subjugation by expanding a little military economic China wants to run it churches and fears no influence economic war for Germany the cooperation to address the global issues a strong enough to overcome the mission of the values beliefs and perceptions AI is inevitable which non-unique all their links also the truth claims are defense of our arrests they need to win that the AI discussion is literally not worth having that's empirically disproven by the Grohl evidence which says it's taken out or second strike capabilities and realism of the state of the world not a value statement wall 18 the realism explain what is the more issues and identifying actions within the world rather than transforming the present realism highlights the international the lack of authority that makes states security the next statements rely on the research surviving the government's way actually the legal more that is not for the security that will be mutual because the states better be strong than the states will be try to balance against a threat also our epistemology is accurate. We have a nuanced depiction of Chinese motives based on empirics and current trends. Swaying 15, the basic motivation and eliminate the type of which post-American operations was diplomatic conditions and it's a couple of architectures this is why Chinese was what is the cast of basically evil understand the force driving such beliefs from national self-historical security suspicion pure and so uncertainty also several level opportunities driven by also the desire to take advantage of China's growing regional global influence. Assessing Chinese motives through info analysis is possible and useful. That's a question a lot of the motives can be other ways of intelligence analysis to determine the behavior based on the info maybe often lead to rejecting people in decisions all the time. The projection can only be areas are rational because they ignore the security dilemmas and with the lack of knowledge to try to enhance understanding assessment is about vital indication China assessments empower policymakers attack which is a key for reducing conflict. There are R&D counterplan permutation debate that chills politics immigration seen as a footnote to the massive increase in spending and the US has achieved parity for AI funding. That's their evidence but also here's new piece of events horrible in 1970 the military investment $2 billion of advancing stepping on the technical orders with China will fund doesn't offer the first indication that the US addressing advanced AI doesn't solve first AI zero sum taking workers away is necessary to undercut Chinese AI development as one US second money can't make up for a lack of talent shortages AI are real it's double day third immigration still factor that determines immigration R&D spending has no effect when compared to immigration commonly 18 it would be for the higher reallocation whether or not for hierarchy the higher would be for the higher rate than 70% higher than low it would be for the R&D not strong determination higher would be for 30% higher reallocation there's substantial difference R&D fails crowds out private investment hindering innovation inherently 15 the industry real paper there's no imperial opportunity needed for public funding US made contributions with non-global funding public funding OEC found that privately funded research stimulated growth public funded research and no economic the labor substitution with that public funding across the from the argument for public funding is highly misleading also R&D's unpopular Trump reduced NASA funding which proves that it's within his objective also pro-counterplan. The pro counterplan is a legit prevent states counterplan 2.0 first after on the all solvency deficits are impossible against an overpowered agent counterplan still ways to destroy fairness education teams racing the margins constructing entire apps around BD1 counterplan second topic education destroys literature indefinitely granting a pool of tens of thousands of individual destroys the educational value of a changing resolution indefinite paroles independently of votership debates away from temporary versus permanent to get executive versus Congress which is a grounded literature kills fairness education permutation do both the chills politics the counterplan establishes precedent for the app which significantly reduces the amount of debating happening in Congress also links to politics Congress likes field immigration but goes up in arms about usurping legislative authority Congress received the executive 1980 refugee out of the president of the Congress. The executive standard renewal rules by the effort come to the use of the authority also doesn't solve the first, second-class citizenry. The foreign nationals subject to deportation for any reason. Immigrants will stay home because moving back and forth is high cost, especially true given there's no clear path to LPR. They also lack basic benefits like driver's license or due process rights. It's magnified because China would notice U.S. parole policy, make it significantly more attractive to go to China. That's Papa Dimitri second. The military police can't develop classified tech for the military block question on 13. That versus the nonsense may be higher than the field. Immigration to the Congress purpose use of appropriate funds. I don't want to the immigration laws paying honest to the decision required for security clearance of our nationals. Once you say, I don't know visa citizenship over. I told you that the refuse was limited by statute. Export controls prevent this leaching agreement and the professional subject. Actual labor is going on under the year release. Technical phone the team is subject to release any. Every part of the plan action companies have mitigated of far-reaching programs. Measures and diminished contributions market contributions control of the infrastructure data. A lack of communication for left tendencies to prevent passage to listen 214. Between the rivals does not exist for shutting the hinders on the infrastructure. How much we have to reach the what is not a hard person to replace the top infrastructure official who a lot of questions doesn't get myself clear. Infrastructure plan the other side of the line. You're slipping extremely far less. After all cybersecurity problems in our grid also the flies under the radar Williamson 26 raise instead of a little artificial social life special work of the eye. Especially number 20 has a worldwide immigration restrictions on the release of the personal friendly immigration level taking the entire population agrees to be hardly opposition from engineers in California, not Washington. Thumpers, Mueller probe, shutdown compromise in the USMCA. Also, the evidence doesn't say that this federal infrastructure bill will address the grid. Also, they conceded the Thumpers a partner rather than the one I see. There's H1B or H1Bs and H2Bs that are being debated in Congress right now. Also, the bipartisan Canadian 12 Canada. Trust the record tech has been getting what is the media something that shooting overview content is sacrament test for the 5 the national parliament passing universally head of Congress a promising precedent. The base is cross-apply the Williamson card from the previously also Trump would retaliate refugees and low-skilled immigration to appease his base, not the athlete, or not elsewhere. The shutdown should have thumped the tax base for the Graham 126. I should the base of the shutdown was considered Trump was not willing to battle on Republican media. Emergency for the shutdown Trump with the base. But Trump more than Democrats, president I held Trump responsible for approval ratings in the low 40s. Trump is higher just approval of 50 for the Republican 42% 34. Also, he'll just tweet instead of actually lashing out. And the base is really deferred to medicine specific immigration pressing 18. Trump elected Trump to 5% position 3 different days. With the party will be a moment for the Republicans supporting Trump. The voters will follow the leader 1,000 year Republicans last raise issues considered the liberals and right on the Republicans support liberal policy. The Trump support the stuff like help you on immigration. Market immigration.
Okay, you good?
Yeah.
First, your espionage answers and your K answers have some harsh disconnects between them. You read this one piece of evidence that says that Chinese officials more likely to cooperate with the CIA than go against them. Your realism evidence, the Zhang and Li evidence, says that China is hell-bent.
So I think we're just wrong. It doesn't say Chinese officials. It says that Chinese immigrants in the United States are willing to cooperate with the CIA.
What's in the context of Chinese nationals providing intelligence to the CIA?
Correct. Chinese nationals.
The Chinese government coerces Chinese immigrants in order to do security operations.
Just to clarify, Chinese nationals are distinct from the CCP government. The CCP has a national initiative that is...
The CCP government coerces Chinese nationals. Is that CCP government realist in that way, or is it not realist?
The CCP government is realist. The people are not realist.
But the CCP government has a realist incentive to coerce their citizens,
correct. They have a realist incentive to coerce citizens, but our evidence indicates that empirically in the United States, once they come into the United States, they are not realist, given that they have cooperated with CIA officials in the past.
It's not that Chinese immigrants are realist,
obviously.
That's not
correct.
the question.
That's
our evidence says that the CCP coerces Chinese nationals who come to the U.S. Do they do that under a realist framework, yes or no? So
the CCP might try as they might, but people in the United States are not cooperating with the CCP. That's the evidence I've read.
Your compliment card is 3 lines. It says that there's far more Chinese providing good intelligence to the CIA. Shinhua is only able to gather raw information. What about this is about the government's relationship to immigration?
So it's about Chinese people in the United States being willing to cooperate with the CIA.
Okay, that's a big spin in that. Let me go to your some of your infrastructure answers. You say that the AI flies under the radar. A quote from the bottom of the card: like everything else, it's complicated once you start getting the part that matters. Of course, it matters that the government does it vis-a-vis technology, but given that I know about them, I'm not indicated to trust too much about the particulars of this to Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi and Congress where the laws get rid of it. Then it says that Trump would be popular, but congressional issues cause massive fights. Why do you access this?
I do not think it says congressional issues cause massive fights. It says
that they don't trust it to Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi.
It says
Trump.
But it says AI gurus would hardly be noticeable as a quote from the card to Washington.
No, it says that Trump says this, but
that's not what Trump said. This is what the article says.
Trump talked about AI in his
Let's
State of
talk
the Union.
about the Congressional Process Plan.
Okay.
To be clear, as you said, once you cross X, you raise the overall quota on high school immigration above the current baseline of 150,000 a year, correct?
To allow artificial intelligence.
How much do you raise it?
So the evidence that
Is
we
it just
read.
an extension? Like, is it
A substantial
It's
amount.
a substantial amount
Is it
of ballpark.
150,000, but then only AI people are allowed to increase, or there are other types of immigrants besides AI
Only
immigrants?
so the of the increased portion, only artificial intelligence.
How's that
is
possible?
allowed in the
You
United
raise
States.
the quota, correct? You don't indicate how that quota gets allocated.
We raised the quota for artificial intelligence experts.
That's not a separate quota. There's one global quota.
Yes,
You
we
global
raised the quota that is dedicated to
You
artificial
can't
intelligence
allocate how
experts.
that happens. They
Why
don't
not?
talk about
Why-
just raising
why
the
not?
quota, correct?
Why not?
That's not a restriction that exists on AI people.
I mean,
What
Yes,
you
it
do-
is. Low visa quotas currently exist as a restriction on AI experts. The plan raises that quota
That's all you do, though, right? You raise the quota.
for AI experts.
There's no separate quota.
Reasons to reject
Parole theory.
I think that was
that's
it. Yeah. Well, floating picks and big and
Oh
utopian.
yeah,
ones.
big and utopian notes on the security. Yeah.
Then the R&D counterpoint. Then case in the order of dominance. And then the cyber.
Kernel, K, R&D, dominance, cyber.
Does anybody know?
Sorry, just 1 second. Yeah, I'm good.
The government's also okay, so what's the infrastructure to set use of executive structure to grant parole to high school AI workers finding some definite through the lens of sufficiency, the only non-qualifiable, no have impact timeline. This agent campaign is counter making the topic relevant agent campaign says best towards education agent debates or important policy question because certain agents better suited for predictive policies, process often more relevant than substance, second side maps, entry grounders, but all the rest large chapter, no critical limits, most ability, offset, literature bias, impact on equality within the immigration practices, third is counterplaying ground, aging capital helps you a substantial portion of the ground, excluding aging capital function improves the capital as a negative option. It's not just aging capital, rather competes off the process competes off the status given. The indefinite parole is independently good. It's functional limits, key to check infinite parole of tiny slow country, rest for stability, after calling LPR, 1 seconds predictability, arbitrary lines of field, unfair combination, literature, prep and logical, key to decision making, cost diversibility, the intro can't be enforced. It doesn't steal the app because we're playing to solve deficit, precedence, over advantages, human rights, leadership advantages, certain your benefits, Congress and court strike down. Indefinite parole is real and in the literature, CC90, not parole in the alien definition of parole, these include definite parole in some cases and condition warrant not period as well as definite parole has no time limit, that's fixed, not 14 has the flexibility to be constructed by if there's no specific time limit, period parole, then maybe granted, they say permutation to do both, that still limits the benefit because it goes to Congress, which forces Democrats and Republicans to take sides and debate the plan, got it by part. It's a question of implementation pre-passage, and so for partisanship, but the perm and the plan do Pullman, both in 16. Bonus systems need to be implemented, discussion to empower men, detailed cyber scripts that detractors, borders, hashing out concrete details, create new features while she research, they say that partisan line, passing on text, and once line, may be surprising, small economy, the head of possible political compromise, simple rights, to argue that discussion negotiation must occur behind closed doors, most extended, federal negotiation of photographic policy, there's only negotiation, barely symbolic, that's policy reshape, but critical back and forth, offers, counter offers, not in the public batch, think about what type of policy may fix the public oversight without doing impeding negotiation. They say link to politics, or does the campaign does not link to the very purely executive action, or link to premise about 4 times. There are Rodriguez evidence about 1 time in 1960 when the Congress stepped in to revise parole. The fact that Obama did 6 parole programs and Congress never stepped in proves that that was a unique instance. It's not predictive. They say second-class citizens, there's no impact. They say what is policy type? Hey, people will get paid more here, and it's a liberalized investment climate, which means they'll take it even if they can't drive. There's no impact to that. And the abstract and new one arguments about that get more new to an argument. This will turn into an uncertainty deficit, but the fact that 90% of high school immigrants choose temporary and then transition proves that they'll take the cap on Clear Guard 07. Green cards don't grant them interest. More than 90% of green cards are issued just as has to be status for high school foreigners already residing in the United States. Green cards maintain workers other than expanding and this indicates that temporary visa for my gatekeeping function and overwhelmingly is a temporary workers here. Whether the green cards in the first place attract the best rights to the United States. This doesn't assume a plan that grants financial incentives for AI workers. Just one means that there's an incentive to come here. Second, it resolves uncertainty because we wouldn't pay people and then proceed to deport them. The act is presenting a false binary between the two. Coup et al. 2008 analysis converts from language to temporary permanent migration on 9% that don't say either apply or apply for permanent migration for the economy to temporary permanent migration appear to be false when the intention is always permanent migration. Empirics go negative. That's MBCA 15 programs to consider profile ventures researchers who have that form of simulation to new technology or planning as research on the where introduced might be interested in absent other immigration officers with strong interest in terms of the program. These are reasonable funds are a focus and would be immigration entrepreneurs. Uncertainty is inevitable in the word of the plan because Trump deportation policies and restriction of visas means that they'll still be scared inevitably, but the campaign clarifies that through the announcement plan, which is the only part of the campaign or the plan that shows Trump has reversed his anti-immigration sentiment. They say it can't develop high school technology. This is about citizens, which they don't solve either. There's a huge backlog, which means that there's a huge time frame, which means that they don't solve this before the internal links of their app happen. So by 18, the backlog pending application becoming U.S. citizens skyrocket 87%, increased Trump administration, but a second wall that prevents legal workers from becoming U.S. voters. This is the gross companies intentional second wall states have enormous spike in denials of citizenship, increase in application extender capacity that adjudicate cases. The treaty evidence is 12 years, which proves that this happens before that China can catch up. Also, doesn't assume the last place in the campaign that allows agencies to hire immigrant, non-immigrants, even if there aren't citizens. Also, they have no evidence that says working on classified materials to either control the export control argument they make mark to 2 or early. If they finish getting into an argument, it says that most immigration professionals, or rather many immigration professionals, it's not about high school workers, it's also not about AI. The burden is on them to prove that either parolees can't do this or AI experts can't do this. And even if that's true, the evidence is that they can companies can implement programs that are expensive. But the fact that there's only thousands of AI experts proves that it's worth it for them to implement those programs because those AI experts make them hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is proven by the fact that they're so scared and that people are willing to pay such high wages, which is their own internal link evidence. Critique consider permutation just to test the combination, reject the argument on the team. Same for R&D, consider permutation just to test the combination. Dominant stuff. Case argument. At the top is our offense. It's the turn outweighs in terms of pace and academic crisis, collapses international safeguards against conflict provisions. Countries like Russia, China, Turkey, North Korea would be emboldened for global nuclear conflict. There's no defense against strong changes again. That's evidence turns case versus academic decline. Takes out effective U.S. leadership and funding for naval military capabilities. Second is Chinese tech growth. It's primarily from U.S. espionage, which is a war that's basically conceded our evidence that the power projection capabilities in the status quo were garnered from stealing U.S. tech. The limelight on this argument, they say it's really difficult. No, our evidence says that most of this espionage occurs on startups because those are the ones that develop high technologies. Our evidence says there's an incentive not to report or try to
strike out against these immigrants because people are fear they'll be labeled as racist, and companies don't have proper protections in Silicon Valley because they don't invest money into those things. They say other factors they have no evidence to support this, or evidence to a cascading effect and billions of dollars lost from espionage because the thing it causes loss of IP, which prevents innovation in the future. They say cybersecurity solves espionage. That's about hacking. Our evidence is about human intelligence being a thing that actually takes literal trade secrets that can't be guarded over espionage. But tariffs solve espionage in the status quo. This is not offense for them. That's more 18 China for their response to Trump's announcement. On the inside, they're trying to retrieve foreign trade invasion policy, which they I think they're triggering to the Trump will on the stereotype Trump's having a threat of terrorists, a threat that IP will no longer be acceptable. China uses human intelligence to advance their goals, not espionage in the abstract. And 16 espionage came to operate in China's agent operations. They demand China's use of traditional tools of espionage involved human intelligence. China's not forbidding. China espionage plays a picture of how Chinese intelligence services support these laws. China wants to handle reactionary claims acquiring forward super technology. They say we're the only thing that makes the app change. That's just wrong. They have no evidence that says they prevent human intelligence. They say concerns are exaggerated. 3 arguments here. First is empirics argument says 274 cases of China's espionage and says that they're actively reaching out to foreign nationals. Second says the fact that China is realist proves that even if they take the L in the world of plan, they'll try to compensate by that by increasing things like foreign outreach to try to sway Chinese nationals, which was crossing. Third is our evidence is descriptive of those programs. It says that there have been multiple indictments of those people, and that increasing the cap would only increase those concerns. They say no link people are screened. They're screened for national security concerns, but there's no detection mechanism to see if they're under the influence of the Chinese government. There are multiple empirics that go our way. Schindler 18 or Schindler 16. Yeah, this is no isolated incident. We saw more cases of Chinese immigrants accused of spying on the public Chinese immigrant faced charge for nuclear security. Chinese espionage represents history because American security and prosperity immigrants and never such as a problem. Many holding 1 to 6 Chinese active people against Chinese espionage and single French intensities if Chinese scholars with all things we can counter intelligence risk is low, or to be high Beijing bonus operator related, overwhelming international pressure link. Against the rigorous relief that Beijing parachute has relied on active class enables espionage. Remember, there's no internal link defense, just link defense, which proves that if they do lead to more Chinese espionage, they've spotted us, and that takes out U.S. military capabilities and economic capabilities. Drop down to the defense proper. Status quo solved, except the Uyghurs. Every Trump using XO has increased funding for AI, and agency has made a priority. The DoD set aside $75 million, even if funding is not key. China's still way behind on talent. Saying 18, China's AI industry is the most funding. China's massive AI talent pool, well behind the United States, short of a high-scale level. The AI talent China only had 1/5 of the number of the United States. There are huge problems. Not 18. China's state media report that the country is taking a shortage of 5 million AI talents, now 1.9 million AI engineers worldwide. 1 million in the United States. China's come to 50,000. There is no path to hegemony. Their only answer is about interventions. No, Bellarmine analyzes the effects of sequestration versus active military presence and says there's not a correlation, much less a causal link between hedge and peace. Even if it is about intervention, it's about the effective use of those capabilities, which means even in the world of AI, 1, China won't use it, or US won't use them effectively. Second, the fact that there's no correlation between capabilities and peace proves that there's no correlation between AI capabilities and peace. There's no war. Keith and Thompson 17. Alice exists a political and geostrategic agents to lead overall plus leading accidental strategy to mean unlike each country remain that the US will be related to the beach and the trade partners that share concerns to create a military operation operates for low motion, not partial fire. Okay, not partial fire. Second man. No cyber attacks. They sent very little man. There are only a few fraction of countries with the capability to false attack, even fewer are content, and none who can decimate the U.S.'s infrastructure. All attempts have failed, and other countries often gain correlated with defensive improvement. Cyber attacks are high. That's singer improvement 14. Counting individual attack groups like kind of bacteria, you get maneuvers where really care about the impact that sources of company confused the classification of something attend everything, but notably those several harbors need to disambiguate online threats with risk and prioritize. No escalation from cyber attacks. They don't want to see Taylor evidence. So if there's no attacks on nukes, they're all offline. The fact that stuff did go nuclear because it was on closed circuits, because they couldn't hack command and control systems, which proves that external actors won't get involved.
All right. Just before you start cross-ex, can you send the perm card?
Oh yeah, sorry.
All right.
Sorry about that.
How long is the backlog for citizens right now?
I think the Tracy evidence is 12 years, but that doesn't assume Trump's backlog.
Yeah, so it's 12 years right now. The plan removes the restrictions for artificial intelligence experts coming to the United States, which is the reason why it takes so long for them to get citizenship.
No, there's also a backlog for citizenship.
And you haven't been able to quantify how long. Because okay, so there's a per country cap on legal immigration to the United States. LPR allows them to then have a pathway to citizenship. That's the reason it takes 12 years right now.
That's not true. The reason that there's a backlog right now is because when Trump got elected, a lot of people applied for citizenship because they didn't want to get deported. There's an 87% increase in those applications, which has caused a separate backlog.
Okay. The case stuff. Okay, so you talked about tariffs and how tariffs stop espionage right now. How does the plan remove those tariffs?
You don't. It's just a reason that you don't solve. So like the Tracy said, you solve espionage. That's about hacks. Our argument is
okay, but why is that not a reason the status quo solves?
So it's a reason it solves espionage, yes. So there's 2 types of espionage, right? There's hacking and then there's human intelligence.
Okay.
The Tracy responded to the hacking part. Our argument is that solved inevitably the status quo to Trump, which means China's using human intelligence.
Okay, so let's talk about human intelligence then. The 1AC has advanced an argument that there are a lot of people, especially from China right now in the United States, that are part of universities and companies, etc., but they're being forced back because of restrictive immigration. Why haven't those people already sent back the intelligence that we have?
Well, first is that if they're only in universities, then they don't have access to things like companies in Silicon Valley. Our argument, the one that's the actual evidence, is about Chinese nationals coming and then working permanently in Silicon Valley companies.
Wait, where does it talk about permanent?
It's talking about Silicon Valley. Well, you just said they're in universities. Our argument is that they're working with companies. Those are two separate things. Second is that,
Okay.
I mean, this wasn't in the 2AC. We can read evidence that Trump actually has increased restrictions on temporary visas for Chinese immigrants, which is true, but
Okay.
not on green cards.
You read evidence that's like we screen them from national security concerns, but we don't know whether they're under the influence of the Chinese government. What tactics does the Chinese government, first of all, use?
Our evidence says they coerce or threaten Chinese nationals who study abroad, or like who are abroad.
And why doesn't the national security screening
Our evidence,
screen
the
for
truth
that?
evidence I read actually says that the FBI and the CIA don't have enough counterintelligence capabilities to screen them effectively for those things. Like there's no like thing that's like this person is under the influence of the Chinese government. It's oftentimes either one, when the person has already come to the United States, or two, it's not something that's detectable per se, because those people are in contact, but there's no background check that can detect that.
Okay, sorry, back to the parole counterplan. The permutation, you said that the link to the disad is about floor time. So when parole gets passed, this would, I imagine, like under the Obama presidency back in 1960, whatever, it caused huge debates in Congress about separation of powers, whether or not the executive has a lot of this parole
It
authority.
happened once in 1980. The reason that happened is because the parole power was huge. They reformed it in the 1980 Refugee Act. Since then, there has not been a huge debate like you've been saying.
But you said the reason why the debate happened was because parole power was huge.
Yes, but our argument is that it's not huge in work power.
Yeah.
What that meant is that there was literally granted.
Okay, 8 minutes.
Why are you recommending stairs?
Oh, because I just take prep before the 1 hour sometimes.
You're taking it before the 1 hour. Me too.
All right, that's fine. 7:33.
Nice out. It's nice to keep going.
Okay, the order is the basis set, then the infrastructure set.
Julian, I think you sent out your sec call doc again.
What the heck? I'm looking at the wrong email folder. It's all from last round.
Those cards are good.
Yeah, it's a good one. Here, here's the actual one. Hold on, let me see that. Okay, so we're good.
Give me 1 second to pull it up.
Just don't pull it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got it. We're good.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Great. Basic science and the fact that there's no last step. Also, the shut down the unique target for us on the politics is that politics, no impact mechanism is 100% magnitude, great class law results in societal costs of electricity, food mechanisms, water supply that leads to spiraling fears and anarchic conditions. In terms of dominance, one anarchy by China to go to war with the US. Second argument says that a collapse in information sharing necessary for military conditions now. Third, cyber one, the class of critical infrastructure invites attacks and causes all current texting cyber means that we turn their often when they don't. The second, the world of this resiliency solves any risk on the cyber text. Turn solve one, link alone, increase uncertainty. They talk about the problem of each weakness or signal. What about second, war turns results in circumvention and rollback against the plan. And Trump would do everything he can to reduce the number of immigrants and waste besides the quota. Yes, they say that this is all for the key for infrastructure, that it was key and also key for weather. That's Adams and 212. The several is bipartisan actual climate change possible. Committee identified that churches specifically more resilient people who say the climate change risk more would harm repeated the emphasize whether Jason Green mobilization one by the posture part repairing the updating or helping the baby build the taking countries related disasters that might epidemics as make Michaels and the inevitability of epidemics occurring in extreme weather events and damage that are evident the experience remains critical to forecasting economically achieving the world local communities can understand the risk via preparation as seen as Warwick and taking true essential restoration occupations disease illness may potential millions with no warning of the unbreakable consequences society evidence go evidence of the common disease posed with drugs and mutation highly lethal regularly greater economic exchange access borders global transportation diseases numbers to make the way over the cross the globe unique space transportation committees are hampering out of bipartisan agreement infrastructure updates now but sustaining potential for bipartisan willingness and cooperation is necessary. The stars are aligned now but the budget and the wall are settled. It's just a question of whether or not the parties are willing to vote on the bill being brought up to the vote. Their evidence says that it talks about these slowdowns that just in the process but not the ability for the committee to pass it. Bipartisan supports inevitable negotiating in good faith. That's Faven and 210. Democrats view the shot as a transactional presence on membership and see him as a potential partner from campaign and rode them again so do leading but the new hope that the AC come together to follow the AC ongoing discussions of various members of the administration. The votes are all good. That's Wilhelm and 19. The U.S. Parliamentary Chamber comments downhill of releasing the Congress to have the votes to pass legislation off and funding mechanism could pass the Senate link debate the plan. The residential agenda for the first time in the Trump presidency, the parties are moving away from immigration fight. That's creating a positive bipartisan environment. Only the injection of the act compromise can crack that agreement. That's the seed evidence. Immigration being left behind with the New Deal. The act breaks that positive tone. That's Dennis at all. And 211. The Republicans try to wall upgrade one into the wall defense for the defense semantic distinction allow both claim victory the agreement could say more positive than duty by Congress and President but into the development and shaker plan. The plan he goes that agreement that's Pearson and 2-6. The President Trump's forward the usual call by bipartisan and nevertheless the immigration remains the great subject divided when I just examine the best possible the bipartisan achievement seems to be possible infrastructure. Here it's proof that's word solid and in 2-6. The infrastructure today is the compromising point actually the promise that we have anything else infrastructure a high priority but as a promise compared to the immigration. They say that it goes under the radar. The evidence includes next Trump rhetoric is outweighed by the details in Congress. That's Williamson and 2-6 like everything else is complicated once you start really getting the part that matters. Not inclined to trust anybody by the particulars of the Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Congress where laws get rid of that means that the congressional debate will outweigh that. We have a debate here. One framing issue, ACE point data, only restriction that exists on AI now, but they live with a global cap on high school immigration at 150,000 a year. The only mandate the plan takes is raising quotas, nothing else. That means that the plan isn't just an AI bill, but an overall cap on high school immigration. ACE point, they have no evidence about how AI immigrants are currently allocated in the world of a higher quota. In order to get to the 20,000 AI specialists, they have to first accept 100,000 other specialists first because they are hired on the backlog or are more qualified. Second, increasing high school immigration causes massive national fights and GB backlashes. Nixon, Brody, and 18. This bill is really captured the high-tech entry systems the U.S. high school immigration system should look like the last system has critical punishments, but on the partial lines of immigration, the Democrats have demand is shortening those immigrants for deportation. Republicans objected comprehensive immigration bill. The Congress debater, but refused to read to vote. The Republicans who for the backlash from the voters who wanted to restrict the immigration prohibition for high school immigration. Third link is lobby fights. They would split over the plan. As Kennedy and 18 struggle between capital systems group and high-tech employees repeatedly prevailed over the opposition. From labor to relatively small citizen group versus CIR and U.S. political judgment for the high-tech employers become the larger citizen groups increasing density of opposition anytime legislation expanded to immigration. The CIR initially gave pro-immigration groups a reason to oppose the peaceful reform system to vote, voting society so immigration. They say that AI has followed one time frame distinction. The world past the shutdown means that uniquely vote now are controversial. Second, is there a reason why immigration has never been included in any of these past efforts? It's far too unpopular. The plan changes Trump's current strategy using popular domestic AI strategies and replace that in order to increase and reform national security. So they'll say that high school is popular in the 1 AR, but that's not true. Trump's actually using it as a veil for decreasing the number of immigrants in the U.S. Anderson 18. When Trump says they want merit-based immigration, not talking about any additional immigration that college degrees. Merit-based code for reducing legal immigration. The plan would put the number of legal immigrants up to 4% or 500,000 immigrants annually. The most possible administration towards high school immigration in the past half century, the Trump administration was serious about high school science and engineering that have been brought from the merit-based. It would money the diversity recession immigration. They say the HTB cap. One, HTB is already pricing the most recent compromise bill. The plan throws that out. Second, gets workers are popular because they're temporary, which means that they run the same staff. Third, the partisan politics and CIS backlash is far worse than the vote of permanency. They say national emergency. Trump will back down. Jacob and Dubon. They decided not to make the declaration. Trump administers perfectly in each of the reports about both national emergency power Democrats and the fight. But the board of the court that is popular among the Republican lawmakers. And if he doesn't, Congress stay out of the fight. That's a law. But Section 214 is not likely functional. Plus, on the law, Professor Congress not pass a resolution that's not regarded by the legal procedural orders. It's also politics.
733. 641. I'll send it out. Should be sent. Order is going to be dominance, cyber, parole, infrastructure. Is anyone not ready? Cool.
The Afstal's economic class because it bolsters U.S. attorney strategy results in back to decline. It's faster because espionage is long-term and AI advances are immediate and bolsters power protection. First, espionage is difficult. Tech firms have security and aren't just going to hand immigrants all the classified secrets. There's procedures in place to prevent that. And you don't have evidence on this either. Second, other factors like the economy, shutdown, trade war, inequality to education, tax reform. Chinese espionage is hardly the linchpin of the U.S. economy. They're internally have just as $200 billion. That's like 0.2% GDP. Third, cyber espionage sums because they're stealing trade secrets anyway. Cyber advantage means we solve it even when human intelligence matters. There are 200 billion numbers about IP theft in general, not human intelligence. Fourth, Chinese spies aren't stealing tech. The Grafenenses are partnering with the CIA and aren't bent on bringing IP activity to the CCP. 274 cases, barely anything, and it's by the existence of immigration for decades. Link differentials before and after the gap is minimal. Just because China's legal doesn't mean their immigrants are. There's similar evidence a bunch of random people accused of digging up seeds, not stealing technology. This is the case turn proof China's bent on serving the U.S. as try or die sustained AI leadership. Trump's exodus and solve. You can see from RD. It doesn't impact innovation. China's behind evidence. It's a snapshot. Doesn't assume national plan to catch up by 2030. That wise, one is about intervention, not a turn. Two doesn't assume how AI serves the balance of military power, and three doesn't assume transition and massively increases conflict. As cyber advantage is back to cyber doesn't assume Trump's nuclear postures, mandates retaliation, and rogue actors, and hack command and control systems, pro counterplan, indefinite roles, illegitimate, rejecting him because judgment is a logical excuse to 2 AR by incentivizing questioning cabinet of counterplans. First, an Afghan makes guarding themselves that's impossible because the counterplans functioning LPR, even if it isn't touching their model, justifies additional planks of further a road nuance solution distinctions, incentivizes the racism margins of the topic. Second is topic education. This link turns all the truancies education offense because their counterplans of bastardization of literature, no policymaker compares the effectiveness of indefinite against LPR, culminating in less than education, functional limits, side bias, and leg ground or solve by aging counterplans, temporary court, and states in Congress. No reason you need a counterplan that steals the app rules, not in the literature. Is for random cards from the CDC in 1990. Also does assume the addition of planks, firm duo as shields because it be viewed as a sweeping overall reform pro, which is distracting legislation and Congress will shift blame on Trump instead of each other, so it mitigates partisanship, links to politics, and catalyzes congressional backlash is a judicious and unprecedented use of parole authority, which overwhelms link to politics, and medicine, indicate to overwhelm all other issues on the agenda, also takes out solvency because foreign workers won't trust the counterplan. If there's controversial debates, Obama doing parole doesn't prove anything because it doesn't assume all the other planks have owned backlash, plus it'll cause debates if they win their politics link because apparently AI is apparently the most controversial issue ever. It doesn't solve versus uncertainty, anything else than LPR relegates parole to second-class citizens. Immigrants don't want to come because they can't travel, don't have driver's licenses, don't receive due process, susceptible deportation any time under the whims of Mr. Donald J. Trump. That matters. Here in 15, the Real ID Act requires states to deny driver's license to individuals who don't immigration requirements for action, TPS, and driver's license, however, the accident authorized driver's license, any other non-status law is privileged of yours over a list statute with respect to the world of the U.S. Supreme Court is awarded due process when non-status stand trouble. Without being said, the court non-status holders cannot petition for family members to obtain legal status. Texas workers need to be sold on the U.S. They want to come, but they're not going to agree just to some garbage parole deal because Trump tells them it's fine. China, EU, and Canada are equally attractive. Threshold is low because only a few thousand AI experts, and AI is the most important field of modern geopolitics. Better AI community develops with the next few use and as a multiplier network effect. Their coup evidence answers like Kierkegaard evidence because it says pro people only come with the intention of getting permanent status in the future. Pro blocks also pros get even less benefits than AI experts. AI experts are unique because they have a unique choice available to high school workers in the abstract sense. They can't work for the military or private contractors on proprietary dual use technology that requires security clearance. This means the counterplan can't solve either advantage because tech developed by immigrants would be public and stolen by China. We solve citizens in 5 years, which is better than the counterplan, which doesn't solve it all. They also don't solve security clearances because they don't plank out of that. Even if when there's a backlog, the plan starts immediately draining workers to maintain parity over China. Third is export control, so deter firms from hiring police because they can't work on technology without getting an export control exception, which costs a ton to prize firms of innovation. Can't solve the infrastructure. After wasting time frame, take decades to avoid degrade, especially one that causes the collapse of the entire civilization. But converts a short-term scenario for conflict that causes extinction. Cyber turns it instead because it solidifies vulnerabilities and AI can proactively mitigate threats. Also, a deterrent solves infrastructure won't pass bill system yesterday, and so it's not even a bill or a plan from the White House. It's all speculation. Fabulin is speculative about discussions. Wilhelm is about the Chamber of Commerce's optimism or evidences will get bogged lockdown and funding, 3 specifics through infrastructure AP, 212 for history says that he will be the president can be before John Michael lawmakers institutions of land, inadequate show, describes as less priority than military spending and taxing, not allowing infrastructure roads, paying for infrastructure by the city, taxes non-starter GP leadership, so oppose increasing the gas tax, have undercut the efforts, political strategies, let's see higher taxes, politically viable during election season, funding is questionable, Mint 214, lawmakers are tight-lipped about funding the Sherman, Wicker doesn't know if there's going to be an infrastructure bill this year, P3 was the subject of a significant issue, P3 funding is fake, which Spear responded, no link, Williamson is incredibly specific to our app and zeroes out the data, compares AI with the immigration issues, and their link evidence includes the app is barely noticeable because the only people that care are liberals in Silicon Valley, illegal immigration on the wall, West, and far more. This should frame every uniqueness question because they all mean the threshold for the link is incredibly high. All their link evidence is incredibly generic, not about AI. Also doesn't assume H2B is literally getting introduced yesterday. The recutting of Williamson doesn't say anything because it doesn't say Congress dislikes the plan, just a factual statement that Congress has to have the bill. They concede from T that we give AI experts visas only and you didn't go for it, so we can do whatever we want. Their evidence about H1B is different because concerns over wages. AI experts make $500,000 per year. Their evidence also says Trump's hostile to high school immigration, not Congress. Cyber internal link first. No evidence connects infrastructure to the grid. Their Adams evidence just one line about grid modernization doesn't say be the bulk of the bill. Second, the app solves the impact by solving cyber hacking, which is a major vulnerability. Weatherization is stupid because infrastructure does dictate whether we can forecast existential weather threats. Thumper, first, the newest spending bill includes an HGB variation that doubles the cap. Second, Trump called for more immigration to the State of the Union. Third, national emergency will faction Republicans and spark massive infighting with the one. Evidence or evidence tool doesn't assume him declaring an emergency. Fourth, Trump just raised the H-1B visa caps with the ass bipartisan. First is initiatives are incredibly bipartisan, probably was proven by the expansion of the national content, which is dropped. Second is America-based immigration cover. And guys, one total of immigration bill here. There is immigration towards issue legal immigration, individual qualifications here. To positive public opinion, this problem we're going to maintain. Mark that last card, maintain.
What was the last card?
It was the Kiefer and gas evidence.
And where's the mark?
Republicans maintain.
This is a problem Republicans maintain.
Oh, yeah. Okay, save it here.
dominance advantage, then the cyber advantage. Is everybody okay if I record this speech?
Sorry, what?
Is it okay if I record my speech?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Do that once more.
The counter plan, then the policies disadvantage, the dominance advantage, and then the cyber advantage. Is anybody on? The council is also a home case to use executive discretion or grant experts parole. They can see that such divisions you should figure out because also students are later non-quantifiable. Don't assume claims the line pro campaigns are the only thing that's stopping this topic from devolving into infinite small countries that without an LPR keyword, which allows people to transition on immigrant visas into LPR, which allows the infinite proliferation of tiny individual country acts without any advantages besides soft left apps that are based off just letting those people in or flee to the country, which limits all their impact visas, keep a substantive negative engagement. Otherwise, breadth of acts outpaces the ability for them to prepare, which is in-depth second and third line preparation, which is a reason we prepare from the theory debate through arbitrariness. They can see from reasonability, the cross application, the theory based arbitrary to track from substance, which incentivizes to undergo their topic. Teams to go for a theory every round, which takes away from their topic, even if it's better after argument, precedent, strike down, spillover, leadership, certainty, or benefits for all truancy arguments that allow after round of the truancy drops. These additional planks. Every complaint you can add additional planks. Those are intrinsic to pro complaints, and those are all legal. There's no reason that's intrinsically a reason to reject the complaint. This is topic education. We read two pieces of evidence that definite parole is in the literature. Our argument says that there is no limit on parole, and that empirically it's a different classification of parole. Just because there are planks added, that doesn't mean it bastardize the literature, because every company can do that, and those all planks are all part of the parole status. They say aging companies uniquely bad. They don't solve our argument because one, there are no other aging companies besides executive, and those are all legal or court, which is also illegal. Second is that there's no other disadvantage, and parole's only thing stops an LPR keyword, which stops teams from granting non-immigrant visas, which is a unique proliferation of the topic that has permutation do both so links, because it's a question of implementation pre-passage, which is a conceded argument, i.e. or the permutation before the company is announced. Details still have to be worked on the floor of Congress, who proves that factual fighting still occurs because they don't know the company will be announced. The Trinity Bowman and poses that it says this is when fracturing occurs, when their details are actually hammered out, which never occurs in the world of the plan, because even if people get mad at Trump, our argument is that before that they have to get mad at each other in the world of the plan. It doesn't link to the benefit, because even if they get mad at Trump, they don't get mad at each other. Our links bipartisanship and working out the details is what causes those bipartisanship factions to emerge, which is the Trinity evidence. So they say they won't trust it. That applies to the app because there's a link as well, but they'll still trust it because of the announcement. They say uncertainty. I'll answer here. First is that the financial incentives overwhelm all this because they're literally getting paid to come here. One is the cost. They said that things like liberal investment coming means they're already getting paid more, even if they can't get things like driver's license for their family coming over. Second is that this is false. Our evidence says that their empirically parole programs have been met with the compromise and satisfaction from immigrants. Second, third is that we read a piece of Trinity evidence that 90% of high school workers come here through temporary status, which proves that they don't get driver's license or due process either, but they're still willing to take it because one, most of them are young, they don't have families, and two, they're starting their careers, which means they're willing to take a temporary status, even if it's a risk of getting a job, because the U.S. is just so much better than every other country. There's no uncertainty because if you want to deport people, if you're paying them to come here, they say AI is unique. They have no evidence to substantiate that AI workers are different from all other high school workers. They need evidence to back this up. They say security clearances, the plane solves it because it defaults to agency claims. Their evidence says that exceptions weren't granted. Our company fiat that there's a 5-year backlog which overwhelms their internal lane, plus there's a 5-year backlog plus Trump, which proves that even then citizens will get citizenry within 15 years, which is China's 2020 plan, which they said was a key internal link. The export controls to the blip. They can see that companies will enact those programs because there's enough financial incentive to do so. Politics. At the top, the disease goes global. They can see that high risk of transportation and globalization means that it will spread to other countries heavily. There's no risk of burnout because high risk of interdependence between countries, and which takes out population globally. It turns case first is link alone creates uncertainty, which weakens our signal. Second is crisis turns. They can see there was no circumvention rollback because the crisis causes protections, and it turns cyber because the collapse of disease, collapse of infrastructure domestically will invite attacks, which increases things like aggression from other countries. Second is it just turned dominance because in a time of disease outbreak domestically, we won't focus on things like military, also important adversaries because they'll see us as weak. The line on unique is made. The 1 hour is fundamentally unresponsive because they can see the thesis level question after the new shutdown deal. All industry will be spent on infrastructure rather than immigration. Each of the unique surveys are simple issues that need to be worked out. They can only be solved through bipartisan. 3 drop 1 hour cards. Our thesis is that the first time parties are shifting away from immigration fights to infrastructure, they're hammering on a bipartisan agreement. They drop 2 cards. First is the favoring evidence. Democrats see Trump as a compromise partner on infrastructure after his campaigning and his State of the Union. The default says that he already engaged in discussion, which proves that there is a willingness to do so. 1 hour willingness evidence says, and answers for funding argument says that they can pass through the Senate, which means that funding is necessary. Their 1 hour AP evidence is just about the gas act, which doesn't have to be included for our impact. They won't abandon the bill. They dropped their link analysis, framing the issue for the round on top gravity. They explicitly agree that their only solvency mechanism is raising the overall quota on high school. That means they have to let in hundreds of thousands of high school immigrants. They dropped that because there are other immigrants higher on the wait list. They don't have to come first. A couple of links means that new Congress now has to focus on immigration. The massive increase swamped all of their evidence, which assumes small changes. First is correctional fights. That's the Nixon-Brody evidence there. Under the radar evidence assumes that Greece has Schumer and Pelosi would fight over the app, which proves that they have zero spend in the context of Democrats who would rather do humanitarian immigration. Also, the alt-right base hates high school immigration. Second, they drop lobby funding, unions versus corporate interests, pits Congress against each other. Trump's current AI strategy is domestic innovation. They shift to immigration, which links to all of our offense. A new one I recovered ignores the fact that high skilled is a code word for reducing immigration. When Trump is legitimate H-1Bs, they can see there's a distinction because they were all temporary. People uniquely don't like permanent because those will displace jobs, which means there's no backlash to emergency. Or they drop the one in our car that says Congress will back down inevitably, which means it doesn't affect our fights. And second, that Trump will back down as well because people aren't willing to follow through it for fear of court backlash. The crime rate is such a high rate. There might be a low percentage. It's also a whole case because they have no substance to suggest this.
Okay. 641.
is that impact work will be done on the county. Is everyone good?
You can hang your hat on a conceded case, which means that small risks of a subtlety deficit should outweigh the minor risk of the dissent, but they also conceded judge case, which means that if you believe that the counterplan links more than the aft, then you should be willing to vote against the counterplan. Judge case bad because it means that the two aircraft argue against multiple rules. The counterplan links far more than the aft. They've conceded that the counterplan link is about the separation of powers, not exactly about artificial intelligence. Immigration, specifically parole, has never been used to grant parole to broad classes of citizens, which would get Congress up in arms. The only answer they have is that they would get mad at Trump, which is irrelevant because think about what would happen. There then debates over what power the executive has, things such as AUMF, then how they can utilize it, what a parole authority can be utilized for. Specifically, all of this has happened in the 1980s empirically, and the reason why it hasn't happened in the future is because Trump or Obama only used it to grant it to specific individuals, but when they grant it to large classes of citizens, that would cause the same debates that would happen over again. This takes up floor time, which is the only link that they have going for them, because it means that Congress would then have to debate, extend the permutation if you believe that the counterplan itself is better in some ways, but I'm going to go for the second-class citizenry deficit explicitly because they conceded a couple large framing questions. First is that China's attractive CCP that pays mid-six figures, a cushy job in top research labs are not refugees, which means that they have options about where to go. Their second is that there are few experts. There are only 20,000 worldwide, which means that variances of a couple hundred dictates who can win the arms race. Third is that AI shapes geopolitics and determines U.S. second-straight capabilities, drone capabilities, cyber operations, etc. And fourth is that expert testimony. We have evidence saying that they want to come here in the world of the app, i.e. getting LPR status, but no one says that artificial intelligence experts want to come when they get paroled. The deficit proper. Look, there's a difference. There's a huge difference between being told that you have the chance at permanent residency and citizenship versus you can come here and work for us, but you can't get deported at the whims of Trump. Don't worry though, Mr. Trump said that he promises not to deport you, which is clearly not something that they really want to come to the United States on. Even if they don't believe the United States will give them absolute security, they're willing to go back to China. The impact is magnified because AI has exponential development. Better AI means better data collection, means better AI, etc., which means that the next few years are key. Also, AI is networks, companies with top researchers attack more researchers in the future. Their evidence says their evidence about empirics doesn't speak to parole, which uniquely prevents due process, driving, etc., which we explicitly extended in the one area. Just because they're young doesn't mean that they're willing to take all the risks in the world, because they still have a better option in China, which pays a ton of money and has better lives, etc. Also, the evidence about their evidence is about entrepreneurs who can invest in the United States, then leave and still make a lot of money, which means that they don't care. The military deficit, it's a uniquely short-term deficit that outweighs on time frame against a dissent. They can't work for the military without LPR status because they need to have LPR status to legally work for the military or citizenship. The best answer that they have is that it takes 12 years. They're right about that in the status quo. It takes forever, but there are a couple technical line-by-line responses that they just conceded, which means you should not be willing to give them a lot of their answers. First, it might be 12 years now, but that's reduced to 5 months. There is no cap. Trump might have increased the naturalization backlog, but no evidence says that it increased the amount of time, i.e. there are more people applying for naturalization, but doesn't mean it takes more time to actually get through the naturalization process. Second is that primacy loss is easy, maintenance is difficult. That a conceded brain drain internal on the R&D counterplan means the NAP immediately drains workers from China, which prevents them from developing technology. Even if they're not working for the United States, they're preventing China from developing this technology. This is important because if they develop tech for China, that immediately causes them to start developing technology which takes out AI. Dissent. They conceded the time frame differential. That infrastructure collapse takes decades, which means that even if it takes a while, or it takes a while to get dominance or cyber advantage, it still happens faster. The link doesn't term frame it through no evidence they have. He won't just backlash. There's also no impact to protectionism because we shouldn't be sending AI technology to China anyway. The infrastructure is not unique. The United States has had a failing infrastructure for decades, which is why I won't necessarily invite attacks. Also, we'll still focus on our military. Infrastructure won't pass now. All our evidence is far better than theirs because it cites concrete barriers to implementing a deal that, rather than the speculation that such a deal will eventually occur. Their evidence is about a status quo descriptive, whereas our evidence is predictive about future prospects. There are several warrants. First, there's no leadership from the White House. Trump discussed it for 10 seconds in the State of the Union, then everyone forgot. Second, they can't agree how to fund it. Even if congressmen should agree on infrastructure should be a priority, no one wants to pay for it. Third, in this history, the last time Trump called infrastructure no and mobilized. And fourth, Democratic lawmakers don't support it because they can't agree on whether public-private partnerships are viable. Their evidence is bad one, and our Fabian just says that Trump hopes that lawmakers will come together, not that there are discussions. No evidence says that he'll hammer out a concrete deal to vote on. One in our Wilhelm just talks about optimism. Our evidence is far more recent, which matters because it accounts for the recent controversy over national emergency, which will detract from discussions. The first one in our card doesn't answer the emergency card that we read. There's also no link. AI immigration won't derail infrastructure. Williamson is the most specific card read in this round and zeroes out the diss that it compares AI immigration to immigration writ large and concludes that conservatives in Congress only backlash to illegal immigration and border security first. Immigration is already being debated. The spending bill was introduced yesterday and includes a controversial H-2B provision resonating far more because about low-skill immigration. Plus, Trump raised that H-1B cap and called for more legal immigration in the State of the Union. And partisanship is at all-time lows because 1AC evidence makes a predictive claim. Second is that your counterplan also links it will cause widespread controversy and calls overrule in Congress over judicial use of parole authority. You can see that on topicality and cross-text that we only allocate visas to AI experts, so we get to do that. Also, it's better than their link evidence. The one in our cards were about legal immigration overall, not about the minuscule part of the app. And second, generic evidence about high school immigration also doesn't apply because they've considered that H-1Bs are distinct from the app because backlash is due to concerns over wages.
You want me to compile a card doc?